Hi, I'm Chef Rohana. You are welcome to my YouTube channel, Chef Rohana. Last time we talked about the cooking and I explained dry heat cooking and moist heat cooking. I explained dry heat cooking particularly. Now today we are going to talk moist heat cooking. Let's see now how is the moist heat cooking we are doing in different categories. So under the cooking topic, dry heat cooking, dry heat cooking and moist heat cooking. The last time we talked about the dry heat cooking, so you can follow my series. I explained roasting, searing, like that. Now today we are going to talk about moist heat cooking. Moist heat cooking we are going to talk today. Let's think about what are the things we are going to talk under the moist heat cooking. Number one, boiling. Everybody knows what is boiling. When you increase the temperature, it comes to 212 degrees Fahrenheit or Celsius 100 degrees. Water can maximum absorb temperature is 212 Fahrenheit or 100 degrees Celsius. After that, water doesn't absorb the temperature. I will explain you later what will happen after that. So boiling point is the 212 degrees of Fahrenheit of the water. So when it's come to the 212 degrees of Fahrenheit, water start to boil. It's come boiling mean a big bubble starting to come up. That is boiling. So when we need to do about cooking, now you can do cooking a boiling point. That is boiling. So take a big chunk, about 20-30 pounds of beef. You can boil it. It is a very high temperature. We can give boiling. Cooking time is very quicker because it's the boiling time, 212 degrees, very high temperature there. Therefore, we do cooking boiling. We call it boiling. It means it's given to the boiling point. So it's very easy to understand boiling. It is a cooking. Number two, steaming. The steaming means, everybody steam. We can cook vegetable using the steam. We can cook meat using the steam. That is steaming. So we use steam for cooking is steaming. We call it steaming. How is steam coming? The boiling point when the water comes, the water does not absorb any more temperature after the 212 degrees of Fahrenheit. What will happen, it convert into steam and evaporate from the water surface to the outside. That is steaming. Evaporative water molecules from the water is called steaming. But the steaming power is more drastic, very powerful than the boiling. The reason is when the water molecule absorbs the temperature 212 degrees of Fahrenheit, for instance, after that it doesn't absorb the temperature. Instead of absorbing the temperature, it converts into the steam, and it has a high energy, 540 calories per gram. It evaporates from the surface of the water. It is more high power than the boiling system. So therefore, we use steam just to cook. Just quickly we can cook than the boiling. And we use vegetable steaming. We use meat products steaming. It's much power, much quicker. It's a moist heat cooking because the water is there. So therefore, now you know what is steaming. It is a 540 calories per gram energy it has in the molecules to cook the meat or vegetable very faster than the boiling. So steaming is there. Third, blanching. Blanching. Blanching is the same thing, these three, 212 degrees Fahrenheit or 100 Celsius. 212 Fahrenheit, I talk about the Fahrenheit. 212 Fahrenheit we use for boiling, steaming and blanching. The blanching is the item which wants to be cooked is not to be cooked 100%. That is the meaning of blanching. We cook it a certain percentage, around 30% or 40% cooking time, and take it outside and cool it down and refrigerate it for further cooking next day or any other day. Why we blanching? Why we cook 40% without cooking full cooking? The reason, every item has an enzymatic reaction, therefore deterioration happens very quickly for the meat and vegetable. To protect deterioration, we cook it halfway or 40%. We cook and refrigerate it for further cooking for tomorrow or other days to be used. That is called blanching. Of a certain percentage we cook. That's it. Not full cooking. That is called blanching. So the little bit different blanching than this one. This one full cooking. Full cooking. This is percentage of cooking. That is called blanching. But same temperature. Other reason is the same we use for these three categories is the water. Regular water you can use. That's the other reason. Let's go to the other one. Simmering. And poaching. These two together, this come temperature about 180 degrees Fahrenheit. Simmering and poaching. This also regular water. Simmering and poaching 180 degrees around approximately, not exactly, around. But simmering and poaching is the most equal sign is the bubbles starting very small bubbles. Boiling point, boiling bubbles are very bigger bubbles, but the simmering and poaching, very small bubbles starting to come. So therefore, temperature wise 180. We use this system, these categories to cook our meat or anything, simmering and poaching categories. The simmering we use simmering we use tough tough meat. Under the simmering, we use tough meat to cook. It's a long time cooking, very small bubbling, not high temperature, taking time and tenderize the meat, long time cooking. Under poaching, this is also the same temperature, the small bubbles starting to come, but particularly in poaching, we use delicate items. For example, fish, eggs, so on. Very delicate items we cook under poach category. The simmering category, we use a tough meat, a long time cooking. This one, poaching, we could say poaching is a delicate items to be cooked. Eggs, we put into the water, a small bubble come, about 180 degrees, not very drastic cooking, 180 temperature, small bubbles coming, not big bubbles like a boiling, but very tenderizing, very smooth way cooking is poaching. There's also moist heat cooking, both are, but this one particularly simmering we call a rough meat. If the meat is very, it's not tender, it's very rough, we cook it longer time under the simmer category, then it gets tender. So that is the difference, little difference, almost same, but this is very quickly cooking, but this one simmering and poaching, very slow cooking, poaching particularly for delicate items, eggs, fish and like that. Let's go to the other one. Braising and stewing. This is temperature come about 170, 180 temperature Fahrenheit. Braising and stewing. The main difference, braising and stewing also simmering category. It's little bubbles coming, but braising and stewing we use flavorful broth all the time. Very flavorful broth, wine and flavorful broth we use for braising and stewing. But simmering and poaching, you don't have to say flavorful broth, you can use water. But if you mention braising and stewing, definitely it should be flavorful broth or wine, so on. So therefore only the difference in between both are simmering, poaching and the braising and stewing, almost similar temperature. A little bubbles come, very smaller bubbles. Different is flavorfulness. This is more flavorful than simmering and poaching. Braising and stewing is the different. Stewing liquid we use as its own sauce. That's the difference of braising and stewing. The braising, we cook it longer time like simmering, but after that we take the meat out and we use it. But stewing, we use with its own use. Whatever the liquid it's cooked, we use with that, thickening to the right consistency. We get it, that's liquid and meat together. The other main difference is braising and stewing. For braising, we use the big items, 20, 30, pounds one. But the stewing, we use it a small cut pieces. That's another different bracing and stewing. But normally both number 4, number 5 and number 6 and number 7 both are same simmering type cooking, but the different water, this one 4 and 5 we use water. For 6 and 7 bracing and stewing we use flavorful broth. For 6 and 7 different is the stewing liquid we use as its own sauce to eat. But bracing liquid we don't use. After cooking we take the bracing meat out and we serve it whatever we want to do for the customer. So, but this one definitely cooking liquid we use with that to serve to the customer. So those are little different, but different names how to cook, the cooking system and cooking category. Let's go to the other one, number 8. Scalding. This is around 150 degrees Fahrenheit. Particularly this one, we use milk. The milk, we don't say boiling, we don't say simmering, we always milk scalding. That means it must be 150 degrees, not more than that. If you increase more than that, it's starting scorching, we call. It means starting browning, try to burn after that. Milk, we cannot give high temperature. Therefore, it comes maximum 150 or around. So that is called scalding. At the scalding, I told you, I explained you, simmering is a small bubble, boiling is a big bubble, but the scalding is a bubble starting point. Generate a small starting point. You can see scalding when you heat up the water, the slight very little bubbles starting very tiny bubbles from the bottom and the sides. That is scalding. Not big bubbles, not medium bubble, that's the smallest as much as we can. That's the scalding category. Scalding category belongs to a milk to cook. Milk, we cannot give high temperature to cook because milk is very delicate liquid. It gets high temperature, it burns right away at the bottom. So therefore, for the milk we always use scalding. The word you can use scalding. Scald, S-C-A-L-D. So this is the way. These are all moisturized cooking, moist heat cooking. Boiling is a moist heat cooking, steaming, blanching, simmering and poaching, a small bubbles, bracing and stewing, a small bubble like this, and scalding is the smallest bubble at the beginning, generating of little bubbles at the basic temperature increase up to simmering point before that one. You can see when you water boiling, when you give the temperature, the starting point at a small tiny bubble start, that is scalding. That is called scalding. So particularly milk we scald. So other things you can use this word, but different and items what we use now, temperatures what are differences. Boiling 212, steaming 212, blanching 212, simmering 180, poaching 180, bracing and stewing 170 and 180 around, scalding about 150. At the moment today, now I finish up the moist heat cooking. Today I'm going to finish up this one. You are welcome anyway for my YouTube channel, Chef Rohana. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Don't forget to subscribe my YouTube channel. Thank you very much, dear. Have a nice day. Bye bye.